What if I told you that painting studies don't have to be bland or academic, and can actually be quite fun with lots of room for experimenting? Instead of sticking to the true colors and values that you see in front of you, I'm going to challenge you to change things up with this fail-proof color palette. I want to show you how you can use an analogous palette to really spice up your painting studies and to accelerate your understanding of color. After painting for over a decade, I've learned that colors don't have to be intimidating. If you follow along with these 5 steps, I'll show you how easy it is to control your colors and make your paintings feel larger than life. Now, before we start though, I have to lay down some ground rules. What if I told you the more you restrict your colors, the more creative and expressive you can be with them? Yes, this is the power of limited palettes. So let's get on the same level in terms of mindset before you begin. First, once you pick your colors, you have to stick to it, at least in the beginning steps. Second, know where your light source is before you start. And third, remember to start simple. No rendering, no blending, no details. Limit how many colors you use and simplify by sticking to only 3 values. Sticking to these ground rules are super important because painting is sort of like juggling. Juggling 2 to 3 things is easier, but the more you have to juggle, the more complicated it gets, and the more you'll have to keep track of. Here are my 5 steps to follow along with as you attempt the analogous palette. 1. Pick one color as your primary color. If you're just trying this out for the first time, try using reds, blues, or greens. These 3 colors are really easy to get the lighting right, so if you mess up on choosing which color to use for lights or shadows, these 3 colors tend to be pretty forgiving and it still looks good due to how bright and intense they are. I'm going to make a new layer, and if you're painting on Krita, you'll just want to make sure that this A is crossed out, or else your paintings will go outside of the gray square. I'm going to grab my rough line drawing and I'm going to lower the opacity to like very, very low, and I'm going to go into my painting layer. Feel free to lock the line drawing if you want to, if you're doing this digitally. Let's get a background. I'm going to go with about like a pretty dark, near black background. My base color is going to be the red, like a magenta-ish type of a red. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the middle. It doesn't really matter exactly what color you use, but what I would think about it is like this is going to be the value and the color that you're going to be building on top of. When you pick the base color, this color should feel like the middle tone, so that this way you can go brighter and you can go darker if you need to. So starting from around like in the middle is good. If you want it to be punchier and a bit more saturated, you can definitely push it more in like this area if you want to. And if you want to maintain saturation, you'll want to kind of almost use values and colors around this, almost kind of like this curve in the triangle. So I'm gonna start mine like around here. Step 2, start off with monochromatic first. I'm just gonna go ahead and color the whole skull. Pick your primary color. Block out your 3 main values, which would be your light, midtones, and shadows. So the shadows are areas that just have any kind of a darker values. Once you block out the 3 values, add 2 more for the really bright brights and the really dark shadow areas. So in total, you should find yourself with these 5 value types: highlights, center lights, midtones, core shadows, and reflected lights. 3. Play with warms and cools. This is where the palette really kicks in. Warms are colors like reds, oranges, and yellow. We usually associate warm colors with light and heat, hence the name. Cool colors are greens, blues, and violet/purple. Similar to warm colors, we associate cool colors with shadows and the cold. And so with this in mind, here is how the analogous palette works. 1. Light leans more towards the warm colors. 2. Shadows lean towards the cool colors. 3. Neutral light, aka the midtones, stays in your primary color of choice. And 4. This is how the analogous works if you follow all these principles and put it all together. And that's what we did with the skull here. We warmed up the lighter areas and we cooled down the shadow areas. 4. Detailing. What we just did in the previous steps is what we call blocking. It is starting your painting as simple as possible and using really big brush strokes to not accidentally get carried away with the details. And using big brush strokes makes the painting look really blocky and chunky. After blocking, the rest is just simply adding details, really spending the time and putting in the attention in observing what is happening in the reference. If you would like to follow along with me and are curious as to how I'm painting my skull, the brush I'm using is the Bristles 2 Flat Rough. It is one of my go-to default brushes on Krita, and I absolutely love painting with it. But if you'd like to learn a little bit more about this brush, don't worry, we've got you. You can download our free brush guide where I share my top default brushes and how to use them. Now, back to painting that skull. You can kind of see that it's just taking simple values and just putting where they should be, and always keeping in mind of like where the lighting is, and then just build on top of it. Once all your main 5 values are locked in, you can expand up to 8 colors as your main palette, as you can see with my own demo. Try to stick to these 8 colors as much as possible. Sometimes what I like to do is have them on the side so you can always eye drop from them in case you do some minor blending and you lose track of what your main colors are. Essentially, it's kind of like a traditional palette, but it's kind of always there on the side and you'll never lose them. An important part of detailing is making sure your brush strokes follow the form of your reference. In this case, I put in an extra effort to paint along the curvature of the skull. But if you're not sure how to find the curvature or don't know where to start, think about the spherical nature of the skull and trying to find those kind of more organic spherical grooves. Also pay attention to other small details and markings that you see on the skull and what directions they are moving in. If nothing else, imagine how you might trace your fingers along the skull as if you had it in your hands. As a hint, I traced the vertical form of the skull starting from the top of the head going all the way down to the chin. This guy is Mustafa Karasu. He does these really cool pieces where you'll notice that he's doing everything with very distinguishable marks, but it goes into the flow or with the flow of the shape of the head and the flow of the face. So you'll notice the hair, the marks that he makes goes in the direction that the hair should be going in. The forehead, the marks go down. The nose, it goes down, but the nostril goes diagonally and it angles up. So every brush stroke that's put down, even though it looks very gestural and very loose, every mark that he makes is done with a lot of decision and a lot of careful consideration as to where the light is coming from and the shape of the face. But if you're not as experienced or you don't have too much confidence in like where to do things, you do have to put in more consideration. You will have to be like, okay, should I go this way or should I put a mark over here? And almost think a little bit like a few steps ahead, where it's like, if I put a mark here, how am I shaping the face? How am I then indicating the flow of the form? 5 accent colors. When majority of your painting is done and most of your 8 colors are placed, you can add accent colors and marks to really make your piece pop. These are for areas that have really bright highlight spots, like at the top of the skull, or really dark shadows and crevices like the eye sockets or the navel cavities. And that is how you paint with an Analogous palette. I hope you all enjoyed this skull demo, and I hope this opens up some more fun painting opportunities for you guys. If you learned something new, please like and share this with a fellow art nerd. If you love receiving quality and free arts education, subscribe. Here's a couple other videos you can check out next.